Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is RFrog, and welcome to another C++ tutorial. And in this one, we have finally reached a point where we can cover structures and classes. So now we're going to start getting into object creation, object orientation. It's pretty well close, well actually, in my opinion, it is the meat and potatoes of C++. For example, C++ was almost named C with classes. So that just kind of tells you the influence of what classes have over the C++ language, as, in of itself. But of course, there's much more to C++ than just classes. I would have hoped you've already known that by now. So let's go ahead and see what these guys look like. So let's tackle a structure first. The reason why is because the structure keyword, or the struct keyword, is actually used in the C language as well. But the structure in C++ is actually vastly different than the structure in C. And it has to do with the way it associates itself with members and things of that nature, which we're about to get to. So let's say a struct, and we'll call it a person. Let's make a person object. Some people like their curly braces up here. I do mine down here, tomato, tomato. And we will simply say, alright, string. We'll keep things simple and not get too picky here. Name, int, age. Ta-da. That's all there is to it. You have created a structure. Now, you could do this with a C structure as well, but you would not be able to do something like this. That would pretty much, the C would not know what to do with this. This is because you can actually declare what's known as methods within a structure and classes in C++, whereas you couldn't construct methods, so to speak, with C. You just had to declare functions and associate those functions with that C structure. So I just really wanted to point those out. So we're not going to use that right now. That'll be talked about in the next video, I promise. But first, we need to talk about the difference between the structure and what's known as a class. And we'll call this one a dog. We'll give it also a name and an age. Okay, so right off the bat, how do we utilize these things? So how do we get to play with the structure in a class? Well, essentially, you call it like you would a data type. So you would say person, we'll just say person P, just declare it just like that. And now you need to know how to utilize these. It's members. Things that are created within the object are known as members, whereas functions created within a structure or a class are known as methods. So that's a good thing to remember, guys. I know you've heard me use the term method multiple times before, so now you know what a method is for sure. So in order to access the members of a structure or a class, you need the oh, hang on a second. Something's came up. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Seemingly left the stove on. I about burnt myself up. Anyway, as I was saying, you need to use something known as a member access operator. So that is essentially a period. So you say p period, and there's our members. So we can say p name. We can give him the name George, because why not? You can name him anything you want. I don't really care. Then we'll make him, I don't know, 16 years old. Whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. It's your object. And now, let's see if everything is so far so good. So we can use an output statement to check these things. So let's say p name. Put little dividers here. Might be a little ugly, but that'll be alright. And see how we've done so far with the structure. Alrighty then, so far so good. So now let's see what we do with the classes. So we'll say dog, D, I guess. And now we can access members of a class the same way we can the members of a structure. But we got a problem, don't we? It's not accessing anything. Well, there's a reason why. That is the difference between a structure and a class. There are things known as access specifiers. Essentially, when you see a class out in the wild, you're not going to see it like this. You're going to see it with some kind of keywords such as public and private. Essentially, by declaring public, or declaring these under the public, you can now access them. You don't have to do that with a structure because by default, it starts as their members start as public, whereas with a class by default they start as private, and a private member cannot be accessed outside of the class directly. You have to use something called accessors and mutators, or sometimes people call them getters and setters, and we are going to cover that in the next video along with constructors and destructors. So for now, we're going to go ahead and just throw this back under the public access specifier, and that way we can do the same thing up here. Name, I don't know, what's a good name that you guys out there name your dogs? I don't know, Buddy, I guess. I don't know, somebody probably just rolled their eyes so hard at that. 2 years old. So we can go. I really probably should learn copy and paste, huh guys? There we are, and we all should be hunky-dory with this. And there we are. So now, in this video, we've covered essentially the basics of how to create a class, you know, minus the goofy warnings. We'll take care of that crap later. But also talked about the main difference between a structure and a class, being the default access specifier, and how to access the members as well as the methods of an object created using a structure or a class. So as stated before, in the next video, we're going to cover constructors, destructors, and begin to use methods such as the accessors and mutators, getters and setters, whatever. So guys, if you like the video, please like, share, and excuse me, subscribe. If I made any mistakes, please leave it comments below. And thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Happy coding.